Hey team, how you doing? This is the off season with me, Scott Keenan, and Lincoln Ison from the Knighted, brought to you by the Wests Group, Newcastle and the Hunters, one-of-a-kind dining and entertainment venue. And Lincoln, mate, a big Merry Christmas to you and to all the battlers watching and listening across your channels for our very last episode of the off season. And I, mate, am getting right into the spirit with some Christmas glasses just to really fire things up. What do you reckon?
Mate, I'm glad you're in the Christmas spirit, mate. I am unapologetically 1,000% Christmas, all about it. Best time of year, apart from football season, but that's okay. That's okay.
What gets you into the Christmas spirit?
Oh, mate, do you know what? We're I think we were saying this last week. We are big November Christmas decoration people now.
Yes.
But mate, I've got the Christmas tunes playing. We've always got the Christmas movies, so it's basically just like an advent calendar of Christmas movies. We go through the list of those. Mate, it's just a magical time of year, pal. Like, how can you not get in the mood for Christmas?
I totally agree. And one way to help with that is not just Christmas spirit, but having a Christmas or a spirit at Christmas. What's your drink of choice at this time of the year?
Oh, I tell you what, Scotty. Have you actually had like a proper like eggnog, like alcoholic eggnog?
I have not. No,
mate. Highly recommended. The Americans they know how to do Christmas and they nail it with the eggnog. So go find.
What does
a good
it actually
recipe.
taste like?
It's just like a really cinnamon, like real cinnamon,
like custardy.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it is nice. Believe me, it's.
And
not
what's the spirit in it? Is it like brandy or what do they put in there?
I think it is brandy. I never made it myself. We had someone made it for me. It was like rocket fuel, but I tell you what, God, it went down nice, mate. It was beautiful. So for all the battlers out there, get around a good eggnog. It's good stuff.
We always do a Christmas drink at our house each year. We try to change it up. We've done Aperol Spritz and Negronis and a whole bunch of stuff. I'm thinking something this year like maybe a twist on like a Negroni and like some sort of gin cocktail with a bit of fizz in it. I think it'd be fun. Like something like that's great at this time of the year. So see how we go coming up with something like that. And of course, being the last episode of the off season, our Mad Monday is here this week, mate. I'm excited. I probably have to go to work, but if it was a proper Mad Monday footy style, what do you reckon you'd do?
Oh, what would I do, Scotty? I tell you what, mate. I'm heading to the beach. I don't get there anywhere near enough. Get a bit grounded. Nuding up. Yeah, that's it. Just strip off, hit the beach. Feel the sun on my skin. Get back. What do they say? What do the young guys say now? Touch grass. So touch a bit of sand in my and that disconnect a bit because in our line of work, mate, we're sort of glued to our phone all the time. Social media is a big thing.
True.
Shout out to all the 16-year-olds who are no longer able to follow the Knighted. I'll see you guys in a couple of years
in a few years' time.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it'd just be nice just to disconnect, just get away into a bit of nature, mate. What about you?
Yeah, I don't mind that idea. I mean, I was thinking, maybe chucking on a mankini and heading down to the pub and just smashing as many scooters as I can. I mean, that's what the footy players do, right? Although they don't do that anymore. I don't think they're allowed. But, look, a beverage by the beach would be great. A dip sounds good as well. Just something to kind of get. I agree, mate. Out in nature, something relaxing would be pretty fun at this time of the year. So leading into Christmas, it is the best time of the year, as you said. So we're glad to be here for one more week and to bring you guys all the news about what's been happening. And of course, it's been a big week on the show this week. Oscar Piastri misses the title in Formula One. We'll talk about that. The Aussies get a great draw at the Football World Cup. And, mate, the big news from the big break at the second test at the Gabba. I don't know if you watch the Fox Sports coverage. They have the big break with Howie leading that every lunch break at the cricket across their coverage, which is fantastic. I don't know if we can get this up on the screen in post, but a really great strapline at the bottom of the screen during one of the interviews. They had Joe Root's parents in the studio to be interviewed. And the strap line along the bottom of the screen said, "Proud parents, Helen and Matt root before play." I think what they meant was proud parents, Helen and Matt root before play.
Oh, yeah.
They missed a comma, and it just shows the importance of punctuation in our lives, right? I loved seeing that. So maybe we can post that on a story on your social medias just for a laugh. Look, plus We will look at what's been happening in the world of rugby league, of course, and our predictions for the NRL in 2026. We've got some big predictions coming up. So we will have a look at what's happening in the off-season right after this.
Big session out there today for Knights centre Bradman Best. What's the recovery plan, Brady? Ice bath or pizza?
Mate, I'll take a wood-fired pizza over cold water any day.
Fair call. Fire and Stone Pizzeria at West City is serving up proper Italian-style pizzas from 2:30pm Wednesday to Sunday. Or hit the bistro, open every day for lunch and dinner.
I eat like I play, no mucking around.
Search West City for great food, drinks and good times.
Okay, Lincoln, some big player moves this week. Perth Bears have signed 24-year-old premiership winner Liam Henry from the Panthers on a 4-year deal, which sounds like really great business for them. Tino's brother, Big Tino, his brother Isaac, has also been signed from Catalan Dragons over in the Super League at the moment, where he's playing alongside Toby Sexton, who's also been signed for the Bears. It looks like they're starting to get it together.
Yeah, it is, mate. Yeah, it's exciting, and I think we were talking about it before. It's going to be good once they start getting some signings. Because it was a bit hard to kind of. It wasn't really much hype about it. We sort of had the New Balance stuff and all that going on, but Liam Henry, a great scalp. I know Mal Meninga sort of saying that they're not going to go breaking the bank. They're not going to go make these huge purchases or payovers. But look, most Penrith players, aren't they, mate? They're very good system players.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure they've got a good one there in Liam Henry. So yeah, mate, good get
one
for
of the best
Mal Meninga.
Yeah, one of the best up-and-coming middles in the game. He's already been in the grand final. He might have been there, I think, the year before and won a premiership. So he's a great signing for them. Also, sadly, Canberra confirming the signing of former Knights winger Sheridan Gallagher for 2 years. I know Yasmin Clydesdale, club captain, posted some sad face emojis on Instagram when the news was confirmed. That concludes that chapter of her time, which we knew was coming to an end, and it was formalised this week. And Harry Grant, the Aussie vice-captain and captain in the second test, and much of the first test when Isaiah Yeo was knocked out in the first couple of minutes of that game, he's won the Golden Boot this week for his performances against England in the Ashes, but no prize for Dylan Brown, who absolutely brained it for New Zealand across the whole test series, the Pacific Championships. What do you make of that?
Mate, the first phone call I made was straight to the police to report a robbery. They deferred me to the to Rugby League HQ. Mate, I don't know anyone on this planet who would think that Harry Grant played a better representative, 3 representative games more than Dylan Brown. Like, no disrespect to Harry Grant, man of the match, game 3 in the Ashes. Mate, he wasn't even man of the series for the Kangaroos. That was Munster.
Yeah.
Look, had of Reece Walsh won it, I think a lot of people probably had Dill Brown and then Reece Walsh there and thereabouts after it, a second place. Had Reece Walsh have won it, I would have gone, you know what, he had a quiet game too, but yeah, he was pretty brilliant, had a really good run of form. I know the NRL sort of form does not count whatsoever, but he was in some white-hot form there. But Harry Grant.
Do you think that maybe that flavoured the decision a little bit because he did have such a good season in the NRL? Like, it's not supposed to, but I don't know what else to put it down to.
Well, it's weird because the judges are, so you got Darren Lockyer, Cameron Smith, Petro Civoniceva, Ruben Wiki, and James Graham. I might be missing one other. So a pretty handy selection committee there, you would think. You know, some guys that, some champion players. Just an absolute head scratcher. Like, mate, Dylan Brown would have been paying, what, $1.05 at best.
Yeah.
He killed it. He was far and beyond, unequivocally, the best player on the field for each of those games, whether it's setting up tries or scoring tries. He was just uber involved. Statistically, on paper, was dominating. The eye test, like, you didn't even need to be really a rugby league expert, so to speak, to look and go, clearly, he's the most influential player on the field.
And you just have to follow the conversations, right, around all of those games and those sort of 3 weeks where those games were being played. Everybody was talking about Dylan Brown. People weren't really talking about Harry Grant and his performances. He wasn't bad, obviously, by any stretch. He did perform well, but Dylan Brown was the standout. I'm sure for him, though, he's just sort of like, brush that off. Like, I'm not bothered. I had a great series. I'm feeling good. And now I'm getting into, a bit of R&R and then into preseason. I can't think it would bother him that much, would it?
Nah, mate, nah. Look, sources I have that are pretty close to Duel said, yeah, absolutely. They spoke with him today, and water off a duck's back. He's not going to lose any sleep over it, which, we all sort of know the kind of cat he is. I didn't think he would, but it would have just been more vindication for us because, there was certainly one of the most maligned signing really in rugby league this year was the Dylan Brown 10-year, $13 million deal. It would have just been that formal vindication of, you know what, we got the golden boot winner in the end. But look, he'll always be my 2025 golden boot winner. That in my heart of hearts, and I think in a lot of them out there, the battlers will feel exactly the same way. Mate,
maybe we should refer this to the NRL Integrity Commission.
There's got to be an investigation, Scotty.
Like in the immortal words of Jeff Tuvey when he was coach at Manly, there's got to be an investigation.
Well, mate, I put it out there. I said, if Dylan Brown does not win the golden boot, I will be arranging riots. So I put my money on my mouth there. So stay tuned. I will let you know the dates. The West Tigers, they're going to go on hold. They can riot another time. I've got my own riots to worry about. But I just want to full the record too, because I think there's a lot of confusion as to what the golden boot is judged on. Now, in 2022, they did change the rules that it is strictly nothing else other than international fixtures. So state of origin football, you can put a line through. Because I saw a lot of comments saying, well, Harry Grant played, origin, blah, blah, blah. That has literally nothing to do with that. They don't even look at that. So the only 3 international games the Kangaroos played for this calendar year were the Ashes. Those three games alone. So, just an absolute bloody head scratcher. Mate, it took me back to areas of 2003, Shannon Noel being robbed a bloody Australian Idol.
Oh, that's where we're at. Sebastian he's an ornament of the music industry, and Nolsey's just bashing it out at RSLs in Western Sydney or country New South Wales.
Oh, he could have taken on the world, Nolsey, mate. It was just true. He was just taken away from him all too soon. But anyways, it'll be one that certainly I'm hoping a very thorough investigation will take place, mate.
Absolutely. Well, look, we might look to refer that, as I said, off to the Integrity Commission after we record this, but it is our last episode, so I thought we should look ahead a little bit to 2026. We've done that a few times this season, which has been great, but to talk about some big predictions, to make some big, bold claims about what we think might happen next year. There's obviously, a lot of change for Newcastle, which we've talked about a fair bit, but in other clubs too. And we're looking forward to new teams coming into the competition, potentially some new rules that may or may not be coming in as well. I know are being talked about too. So I don't know how you want to do this, mate. Do we want to do one at a time each, or do you want me to run through mine and you react to them? What do you want to do here?
I think let's go one each, mate. You kick it off.
All right. My first big prediction for 2026 is that New South Wales will lose the Origin series again unless we appoint a different coach. I do think New South Wales will win the women's rugby state of origin in 2026. We look strong. But I just don't think with Laurie Daly at the helm, he's been locked in for another season. But I just think he does not have what it takes to get the guys to perform the way they need to win the series.
Yeah, well, I'm with you. I had very, very little confidence in Laurie Daly returning to the helm. Only won that one series win, and I think in 7 or 8 series, so not a great track record. I'm kind of with you, mate. We should have had that after an absolute dominant performance, which I saw with my very own eyes in game 1. How that did not continue in game 2 and 3 is astounding, really. But yeah, that's a good one, mate. That's a good one. I hope the God doesn't come true. I cannot have another Queensland series win, mate. That would be absolutely devastating to me.
Yeah, when the time comes, I'll be backing Laurie for sure. But that's my first bold prediction. What do you got, mate?
Mine's a little bit similar to you in a way. Now, don't come at me. I'm a diehard Patriot. I set my alarm every single Ashes game. I think that if we roll into this World Cup with Kevin Walters, I have I'm a bit worried, and I think the Kiwis, given how well they performed, I think they're going to be the team to beat. And having the World Cup in Australia, for us to lose the World Cup would be devastating. But, mate, I'll tell you, I'm worried about Kevy. I didn't like what I saw in England. They were very subpar. We didn't really get any better. No. And I think if Kevin Walters, Ashes, Kangaroos were to play the Pacific champ Kiwis, I think we would get beat. So that's my prediction. I've got a feeling the Kiwis might get it on us, mate. I think they've got some real white hot form. The forward pack is absolutely elite.
And in my mind,
Yeah.
he really played it very safe in that Kangaroos tour of England. He used the same players unless there was injuries, and there was only one or two where he had to bring someone in onto the bench, replacing Isaiah Yeo from that first test. But otherwise, he didn't test any other combinations. He didn't see what might be the best kind of setup for our team, or in multiple kind of different types of games. You can't expect to be able to play the same players against every opposition and get a great result. And so that does worry me a bit as well. Kevy's a great commentator. He was a great player, but he hasn't been an excellent coach. So I'm with you, but has he been appointed for that tour yet? I don't think he has he?
No, I don't think so. Like, I think he's still in the box seat to retain it. But yeah, I don't think it's been official that he's been greenlit, mate, for next season. So wait and see.
All right. My second big bold prediction for 2026 is this, and my mates who are Tigers fans are not going to like hearing this, but my big prediction is that Jerome Luai will leave the Tigers and he will sign with the Perth Bears.
Ooh, juicy.
I can see a world where this happens, right?
Yeah.
And I made this prediction. I wrote this list before stories came out this week. There was a story in the News Corp papers about a group of 7 players who were sort of briefing behind the scenes that if Benji left or was made to leave the club, they would all walk, and they were talking about going to Perth. So I didn't know that when I wrote this list. But to me, that seems the obvious place to go. They've got money. He can have a fresh start. He can be the main man. And the NRL has got I think the right people around the football team to make it a success. They need it to be a success. So if he was to go there, he might go for 2 or 3 years. He's probably going to take his family. Perth's beautiful. The beaches are amazing. Yes, there'll be a little bit more travel, but I think it gets him out of a situation which just seems from one day to the next to be a bloody nightmare, and especially as the sort of the marquee player there. And I'm sure in his heart of hearts, he probably doesn't want to leave because he wants to succeed. But I can see a world where at some stage in 2026, he makes use of those clauses in his contract that allow him to review in years 3, 4, and 5. And I reckon he's going to pull the trigger.
Yeah, I think if I know they're trying really hard to try and secure Benji. If Benji were not to stay, I think that would even probably expedite that a little bit further. But yeah, I'm with you, mate. That'd be what a scalp that would be. Perth, mate, huge.
We talk about the big stories of the year like that. If that happened, that would be one of the biggest coups, one of the biggest stories in rugby league all of next year. What else have you got, mate? What's your next one?
All right, next one for me, mate. And sorry, Tiger supporters, but you know what?
What are we doing?
I know. I hate to kick his wires down, but I've got a sneaky suspicion. I think they're going to go back to spoon. I think there is just
no, surely.
I think, mate, there's just so much goddamn turmoil. Benji, I hope he succeeds, but I still have my doubts as Benji's a head coach. I just think, they have a guy that's coming. He's still so early, such a rookie coach. I don't know how let's be honest. They had Ivan Cleary and Mads Maguire there.
The last 2 premiership winning coaches.
They've bounced and they couldn't really make a difference. And they still had all this stuff. And it was probably a little bit more settled than it is now. Then you got all this bloody crap going on with a rookie coach, mate. It could absolutely just spiral out of control.
Well, there's not many teams as well that you could see finishing below them at this point. Could you really?
Nah, mate. It's so much noise up above. It's just a case study to show you if things on a corporate level or in the front office aren't in order, it's just going to trickle down. It is what it is. So, look, I hope and pray for Tiger Sports that doesn't happen. But, I think in their heart of hearts, mate, they're worried. They're worried that bloody wooden spoon, no longer they got rid of it, it's bloody back with them. So, that's going to be my big, bold prediction, mate.
I like it. It's strong, and I think there's a fair chance of it happening. You see, comments about Benji's really got a clear head. He's not going to let this stuff worry him. But there is no doubt that these stories are going to keep happening. They are a club that the media likes to focus on for good reason. They're a sleeping giant. They've got a big fan base, but also there's so much stuff happening in the front office that's out of control, that is not as it would need to be for the club to be running smoothly. And what happens is that the media will turn up at every opportunity, whether it's at a press conference, whether it's outside of those regular press briefings, but they're going to ask questions about the stuff that's happening in the front office, and it's going to distract. It 100% will. It's going to keep happening, and I think you're right, there's a good chance it will affect their on-field performances. My third big bold prediction for 2026 is this, mate. I think the NRL is going to take a controlling interest in the Super League. They might not buy the whole thing outright, but they've been kind of flirting with this a little bit this year, having some conversations, talking about how they maybe could get involved. I think there's a good chance they're actually going to buy the thing and run it. They could have a general manager of Super League that works out of the UK and have a team under him or her, reporting up to Andrew Abdo and Peter V'landys. They need, for international football, but even just when you think about having the stocks of players to be able to fill teams now. We're adding 60 new players into the NRL over the next 2 seasons. Some of those players are going to come from England, and they need the English game to remain strong. They want France to be strong and the Pacific Islands, countries to be strong too. And when you think that that's the only other kind of domestic competition for rugby league in the world, and it's not quite on its knees, but it is in trouble. And the commercial nous that the team at the NRL has and the experience that they've got blows everything that the team at the Super League have right away. So I think it would be a smart move, but I can also see it happening in 2026.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. You said before about the Tigers being a sleeping giant. Mate, what about that sleeping giant? Like, surely there must be so many Super League supporters that saw, we've brought them into the Vegas fold. I think they have gotten a little bit of a taste of, wow, this is what the NRL are doing. Like they're taking stuff to Vegas. What could they do if they had a controlling interest of our league? And the
passion of their fans, and we bring that more into what we're doing.
Absolutely, mate.
You've seen Darren Lockyer and some business colleagues take ownership of the London Broncos, who are in the second tier there. Imagine if they could get that happening and get London back into the Super League 2, which is largely a Northern English game. But man, you're right. That's a sleeping giant too, and there's so much potential. And I think they could unlock incremental improvement with probably not that much effort. Maybe to start with, they'd have to kind of do a few things, but I could see that being of real value to the NRL and to the game of rugby league over time.
Yeah.
What's your third big bold prediction, mate?
Big bold prediction for me, mate. Lock it in. It's going to happen. The Newcastle Knights will be making finals football under the inaugural season of Justin Holbrook. Now, look, I'm going to predict it's going to be a bit of a slow start. Okay, it might be a little clunky, and I can see people getting their heads in. I can see it now. I can just see the headlines. Everyone, the Dill Brown bust and all this stuff, and then it's going to click, mate. It's going to click. It's going to click in a big way, and I think towards the back end.
Let me ask you, is this head or heart talking?
It's both. It's both, mate. It's all synergy here, mate. It's all the stars have aligned. I just think there's so much tremendous upside to this Newcastle Knights team. I think a lot of people have kind of just written us off. But the fact that last year we were missing so many great players, there is still a great roster there. I kind of feel like we're the best wooden spoon team, if that kind of makes sense. We didn't deserve the wooden spoon because the caliber of player we have. Not to say it's a complete roster, but I feel like there's plenty to work with there for Justin Holbrook. I'm incredibly excited. Peter Parr back at the helm, that cannot be understated enough. We're talking about the dramas of the West Tigers. Well, thankfully, we're nowhere near that. We are well and truly in the right direction. Phil Gardner has put us on this trajectory. He steps aside. Peter Parr comes in. The rest of it's falling into place. So we're going to be massive improvers. We've done it before. All right, we've done it before. Last time we were a top 4 team, Scotty, we finished dead last. But don't tell me that's been done. It'll be 20 years to the day. We've got to tap in a little bit of that 2006 energy. Not to say we'll make top 4. That'd be very, very, very bold. But lock it in. Newcastle Knights playing finals football in 2026.
I love it. Well, that's our 3 big bold predictions for next year. There's a lot to look forward to in the NRL next year, and of course the NRLW as well. I know you're going to be following that super closely and doing your live streams on both the men's and women's footy next year, which is going to be a whole lot of fun. Now, There are some potential sort of changes coming for the game in 2026, but one that has been sort of mooted and isn't necessarily happening, but I think it's worth having a quick chat about. The AFL is looking for ways to add more value for broadcasters and fans for their game with a new wildcard round that's been announced. Instead of that bye round, so you know how they finish their season, then they all take a week off and then they do the finals. Well, next year it's going to be this wildcard round where instead of a top 8, the top 6 will go through to the finals, and then teams 7 to 10 will go into like a play-in weekend where there's 2 games, and the winners of those games will go through to the finals proper, which I think it's interesting. It creates interest. They had a week where nothing was happening, so there's obvious value add there for broadcasters and fans. With our competition expanding to 19 teams in 2027, and then probably 20 teams, from... Oh, sorry. How many teams have we got? We've got 17, so we're going to 18 and then 19. My bad. But anyway, we're expanding over the next couple of years. We're going to be getting close to their 20. Is this the sort of thing you want to see in the NRL?
It does make sense to me from a fact that I understand that there's probably is a little bit of fatigue from maybe the casual fan. When your team's maybe not in that top 8, it's too far out of reach or whatever, or you've left your run too late, it would still hold a lot more attention for that middle, and it would add some excitement. Who can creep in? Like a great example is, Scotty, my team, the New York Giants, right? I'll set the stage for you.
Yep.
Tom Brady and the Patriots are undefeated. They are just literally, they've won every single game. We're going to the Super Bowl. Well, my team, the New York Giants, Super Bowl 42, they rolled in as the wild card, right? They come in, every team they faced in the playoffs were massive underdogs, right? No one expected them to get there. They make the goddamn Super Bowl and they beat the undefeated Patriots.
Wow.
Crazy, just wild stuff. So it has happened before. We get a team that just goes on a run towards the back end and can literally tip off a team that has not lost a game until the big one at the end. So, look, I'm not totally against it, to be honest. I think if it maybe holds a little bit more attention, particularly with the bigger competition.
Like we've got 27 rounds. It's a long season, and you think in those last 7 rounds, and often after Origin, you're sort of still interested. You've got that high from Origin, but then there's like I said, there's sort of 8, 9 rounds there where there are games that don't mean a lot because teams are already out of the picture, right? So if you're adding, 2 more teams into the mix for finals, and then even teams then are sitting in 11th and 12th still have a chance of making the finals because they get to go into that play-in weekend and they can maybe then play into the finals. You've suddenly got a whole lot more interest, not just in what's happening in that playoff weekend, but probably in the 5 to 7 weeks before that for not just the top 8 teams or even the top 10, but like the top 12 teams. So, are we rewarding mediocrity? Maybe. But, we saw this year that the rugby league competition was quite close. So there are teams that are going to be in there and about. So it probably does make the whole thing a bit more interesting.
Oh, mate, could you imagine? As you were talking, I just thought about the Parramatta Eels. Like Mitchy Moses comes back, mate. They look like a team that could legitimately tip some bloody good football teams. They were white hot.
Yeah,
they had that system been in place. I reckon they would have really shaken up the competition. Like they had a horrid injury run. Their star player Mitchy Moses finally comes back. New coach. Like what a narrative that would have been. Had this team come together at the last minute and go on a late run. It would genuinely create some really good storyline. So I'm not completely opposed to it.
It's sort of it could potentially reward teams though who maybe had a crap start to the year, like the Eels did, but then put it on and put it together in the second half of the year. And if you're finishing top 2 like the Storm and the Panthers, you're going to get the reward because you get those those weeks off if you have a win in the first round and the third round of the finals, of course. But I think you could be a little bit annoyed if you're doing well, if you're performing throughout the year, you're resilient, your players are tuned up and not getting injured. I could see how that might turn up a few noses at the top of the table. One thing that the NRL is also looking at is the idea of extending the bench on match days. At the moment, it's 17 players, so 13 on the field, 4 replacements, and an 18th player who can be activated if 2 or more players are concussed and put out of the game due to a head injury. They're now talking, mate, about extending that to 20 or even 21 players from next season with a maximum still of 8 interchanges, which is what you can have now. So that's the total number of changes you can have within a game, excluding head injury assessments when players come off for those. It gives teams more cover for certain positions where, we generally don't see teams carrying, centres or wingers or halfbacks and 5/8 on the bench. It's generally 3 or 4 forwards. And it means injured players can be replaced like for like. Now, I think that means that maybe there's a question then about attrition and about how our game has evolved to be this game of attrition. And when players get injured or are tired, players who are smaller or who are more athletic and physically, able, are the ones who break open games. But I wanted to ask you as fans, do you think we want to see more options on the bench? Or do we like seeing attrition as such a big factor of the game? Do we potentially take that away by having more players available on the interchange bench?
Yeah, it's hard because rugby league is really, it can be won on a Tuesday, depending on the team you pick. There's an art in picking the right team, whether you're going to play a more power game and have the 3 big forward rotation and a 14 or, whatever the scenario might be, you can win or lose a football game by the team you pick realistically. So there is that element that you do love. And how many times do you love seeing, your winger, your star winger or something, gets an injury and then you got to plug a big back rower in at center and he's playing out of position, playing bigger minutes to do whatever. And he just, comes out and puts this miraculous game together, playing out of position. You love those narratives too. That sort of elevates
True.
that player. So you love seeing that. So that would take away from that a little bit, but man, it's hard for me to see it not happening just purely because of the way this HIA stuff is going. I hate seeing a team, you know what I mean? It just feels like an inevitability to me. I don't know. Is that how you're kind of feeling like it's only a matter of when, not if that's probably going to happen?
They're gonna keep policing that closely, and I think it's right. Like if players are getting, if they injure a hamstring and they can't play, they come off and we accept it. And I think there's still a bit of stigma around this idea of, well, if you've had a concussion, commentators talk about it, teams talk about it. Hopefully he passes the test and can come back to the game. Well, yeah, maybe, but maybe he's got a head injury and a brain injury, and maybe he or she needs a rest and should sit out the rest of the game. And I think having more players on the bench will help facilitate, better health and well-being for players in those situations. Tackling style as well is one thing which they can manage and referee some of those issues out of the game. But if players are injured and have a head injury and have a head injury and a concussion, then this might help to address that a little more as well. Now, I'm going to say that I could possibly have made this one of my big predictions, not for 2026, but for somewhere down the line. I'm going to put my support behind this big idea, and that is Yasmin Clydesdale to be the first female head coach of a rugby league team in Newcastle. I don't know if you saw this in the last few weeks. She was on a podcast and she was asked about this idea of whether she'd like to go into coaching. You may know that she's been a teacher. She's also big on, she's got a commercial, she's got a sort of a business doing coaching and leadership clinics. She's a great talker. She's a fantastic leader. We know that from our own personal interactions with her and obviously seeing her on the telly and the way she plays. She didn't say no outright to the idea when it was put to her by another, I think a current female player. Instead, she sort of said how much she likes working with young players and helping them with their careers and getting them to think, about footy, but also stuff outside of footy. Just sounded like somebody who was already developing the right kind of like leadership principles and values that a coach is going to need. And I figure if anybody is ever going to step up as a female and lead a team in Newcastle, I want it to be her.
How have I not put this together in my own head before? It just makes perfect sense. No, I'm 100% with you, Scotty. I've said it on record before. I absolutely have Yasmin Clydesdale as one of our best captains since our inaugural season in '88. She's my favorite NRLW player. I think she ticks every box, mate.
Yep.
Whether it's leadership, toughness, footy IQ, you name it, she's got it. She's performed at every single level, whether it's for a state, a country, clearly for our club as a 2-time premiership winner, also picking up Dally M's. She's absolutely incredible. And you only have to sort of talk. You don't have to talk to her for long to kind of know she's got that very caring, nurturing teacher kind of quality about it where I could absolutely see, and she's doing some tremendous work with her football academy with Olivia Higgins at Future Fierce. So even her stepping into that realm even leads in more credence into going, yeah, I could absolutely seeing her being one of these next generation NRLW coaches to really motivate and inspire some of these young female athletes to come play rugby league football, mate. 100%.
And that's such a big part of being a coach. You really it's a lot about player management and leadership, much more so than tactical now. So you've got assistants who can help with that. That's part of it, obviously. But I mean, I saw her speaking at a big corporate event this week. It's something that she's kind of leaning into, and the more she gets better at that, the more she'll sort of grow the skill set she has. Of the 12 NRLW teams in 2025, only one has a female head coach at the moment, which I think it's not really good enough. Karen Murphy at the Titans, Tani Norris coached Queensland for 4 years from 21 to 25, and Jess Skinner is in her first year of coaching the Jillaroos. So it's great seeing that at a representative level. We need more female coaches in the game. I suppose as the female game grows and more players, come through the system, there are also going to be more coaches coming through the system too. Players who enjoy playing but want to continue with their career in football after they finish playing. So hopefully we see some more of that in the future. And hopefully, I'm not just talking NRLW either. I genuinely think somebody like Yasmin, if she goes on the sort of the right pathway, she could be an NRL coach. I think she's got the sort of the nous and the knack, and she's got the toughness to be able to sort of walk the walk as well as talking the talk.
100%.
And now, mate, Ben Hunt made history this year, winning the grand final with the Brisbane Broncos. I don't mean to bring that up. I know it's a sore point for you, but I don't know if you know this. He got his name taken off the list of the people who've played the most games in the NRL without winning a premiership. I sort of did a bit of research on this. Do you know which player, or can you think about any players that might be near the top of that list?
So who's played the most NRL games and has not won a grand final?
Current and former players.
Ooh, okay. All right. I know he gets mocked quite often. Nathan Hindmarsh has to be there and thereabouts.
He is very close to the top. 330 games for the Eels. He played in 2 grand finals, and poor old Flopper never won one.
Oh, yeah, he never lives that down. He's reminded of that one constantly.
Well, he owns it now, but I feel for him because he had a great career, but yeah, he never got there in the end. Anyone else?
Oh man! So they're over 300. So they're over 330 games. Boy, oh boy!
It's not as obvious as you think, but when I tell you, you'll probably be like, "Yeah, I could see that." Think of another. This isn't the person, but think of another really famous Sydney-based one-club glamour boy who played a lot of games in the late 80s and 90s. He's right near the top of the list as well.
A glamour boy. So he's done TV.
Think the Tina Turner ad.
Tina Turner ad.
We talked about it last week.
Oh, Andrew Eddinghausen.
You got it. Yeah, he is third on the list. 328 games for the Cronulla Sharks. Of course, he played for New South Wales and Australia. Never got there either. Never won a title. Oh, look, I'll tell you who it is. And it was obviously Nathan Hindmarsh, second at 330. 331 games for Adam Blair, the forward who played for the Melbourne Storm, West Tigers, Brisbane Broncos and the New Zealand Warriors. He is the most capped NRL player to never win a premiership.
Wow. Jeez, yeah, because he was with so well. I'm trying to remember back what year he would have left the Storm, because that would have been his best time to try and get one. Wow, geez, that's unlucky. 331. Yep. Well, he recently got another record taken off of him. He actually conceded one of the fastest try. I can't remember who broke it this year, but it was something like within 6 seconds when he was playing for the Broncos. Took the opening hit up, tried to offload the ball, hits the deck, absolute Barry Crocker of a pass, and the Parramatta Eels player, can't remember his name, scoops up the ball. Couldn't believe it. I think they scored literally within the first 7 seconds of the game. But that record was broken. I can't remember. It was earlier this year. Someone broke it. So at least he's got that one off his back. But poor guy.
My word. Some of the other players on the list, just behind Andrew Eddinghausen at 327 games, still playing Josh Papali'i at the Canberra Raiders.
Oh, yeah.
God, he's clocked up some games there. Yeah. Josh Morris, one of the Morris twins, played for the Dragons, the Bulldogs, the Sharks, and the Roosters. 325 games and no title there, which you kind of think as well, like having played for the Roosters, you think he might have jagged one in his last couple of years there. Aidan Tolman, who also spent time at the Storm and the Bulldogs, and Cronulla. There's a bit of a theme here, isn't there, among some of these players? A couple of Knights players too on this list, I should have mentioned earlier. Andrew McCulloch, who came, I think, for like 1 or 2 seasons as a hooker there for a little while. One season, yeah. So he played 309 NRL games, most of them at the Broncos, also at the Knights and the Dragons.
Yep.
And John Morris, 300 games, no title. He played for the Knights, the Eels, the Tigers, and the Sharks. And I'm pretty sure he's now on the coaching staff with Benji at the Tigers.
Oh, yeah, he's gone back. Yeah, because he was where was he? He was at the Sharks. He had a sort of bit of a good run there before they punted him for Fitzgibbon. But
he did do really well.
Johnny Morris. He was around for a long time, Johnny Morris. Mate, one of those blokes, I don't think he's ever had an ounce of fat on the bloke.
No.
He just looks in shape all the bloody time.
Fettle, and he doesn't age either. I hate people.
No, you're right. He doesn't. He looks the same like he did when he was running around for us 20 years ago. Yeah,
he really does. Yeah. He would probably still shape up really nicely if they did a remake of that Tina Turner NRL with Andrew.
He's got a bit of Kirk Gidley about him, doesn't he?
Oh, he truly does. Yeah, absolutely. Now, we've got to know each other pretty well over the past year, having done the off-season together, and obviously through the Knighted and New South Wales Mining getting together, which has been great. I was thinking the other day, we haven't really had nicknames for each other. I don't know, do you have any nicknames? Do people give you nicknames? Like the Hairy Beast or...
I get called a lot of things, Scotty. A lot of them I probably shouldn't say on air. I think just colloquially, I just get called Link now. It's just shortened to Link. Sir Link. To my loyal followers, I get Sir Link.
Yeah.
Bronco supporters call me Sir Link a lot is another one. Bronco supporters call me various names. Queensland supporters. So a bit wide range.
What did Andrew Voss call you? Or Brandon?
Shout out to you, Bossy. Starts with I and ends in T. But yeah.
I don't really have nicknames either. At school, I just got Keenan. Everyone just yelled Keenan, Keenan, or Keeno. Or when I was on radio, I started at Triple M in Sydney very young. It was like my first job out of school, and I got on air quite quickly. And the guy that was running the station at the time, he's quite a very well-known radio programmer in Australia, but he loved giving nicknames to everybody. Like everyone had to have a nickname. Like my mate who is still on radio on Triple M now, he was Damien Carbon, but he's, mate, you're Carbo on air, Carbo. The sports guy was Russell Barwick, but he was like, mate, you're Russ the sports guy. You got to be Russ the sports guy on air. He's like, okay, so known as Russ the sports guy. And I got Kid Keenan. He's like, you're young, mate. You're going to be Kid Keenan. I was like, okay. So that stuck. So my mate Damien, who I was just talking about, he still calls me Kid. He's like, g'day, Kid. How you going?
Yeah, nice.
And then there was a good mate of mine who he was doing a bunch of stuff on Today FM on Triple M, and then he came in and did some stuff on in the news team with us, reading news, reading sport. And for some unknown reason, this same programmer decided instead of giving him a name that was like, you know, kind of like his actual name, he was like, mate, you're gonna be Buck Naked. That's your name, Buck Naked. So he made him go on air, and he's like, good morning, it's 8 o'clock, Buck Naked here with Triple M Sport. It's horrendous. I hated it for him, but it was funny, but I was like, can't we just call him Matt? That's his name. But it did also get me thinking about some of the great nicknames that you hear in workplaces, especially like out on work sites and at mines and construction sites. You hear some absolute belters. And I've got a list here, and I want to run through a few of them with you and see if you've ever heard any of these when you're out and about doing your job. Deck chair, because they always fold under pressure. There's one here where they call a bloke Perth because he's always 3 hours behind everybody else.
Yeah, we've all got one of them.
We all know Perth.
Yeah.
This would be good for, like, I don't know, somebody digging holes, I suppose. Lightning, because you can never hit the same spot twice. Here's one I like. There's platypus. Anybody working in a family business would appreciate this one. Platypus, the boss's son. They're a protected species.
Yes, of course. We all know one of those.
Somebody said here they had a guy at work called Bottle because he's empty from the neck up. And similarly to that, Lantern, if you call a bloke Lantern at work, it's because he's not very bright. He always has to be carried. There's a couple of more here because I want to run through these because they're great. Harvey Norman, he's been at the joint for 3 years with no interest. Pothole, because he's always in the road.
That's a good one. I like that.
Two-stroke, as in the lawnmower, hard to start and always smoking.
That's good.
I've worked with a few of these over the years. MasterCard, someone who always takes credit for someone else's work. And finally, Noodles, because they think that every job takes 2 minutes.
Good stuff. Oh, mate, we all you ever heard of the a show bag?
Yeah.
Someone who's always full of shit. I actually went away on a fishing trip once, and it was with a mate's dad and all his group of mates, and they kept calling this guy Backfatter. What a bizarre name. And he was a big boy. And I said, what's the guy with Backfatter? How do you get that? And he goes, every time he goes away on holidays, he comes back fatter. So that answered that question.
That is gold. That is brilliant. Wow.
Yeah, shout out to you, Backfatter.
Oh, God, we can be hurtful, but we can be funny. Oh, Jesus. All right, well, there's some great nicknames there for you to take back to work next week after you've listened to the off-season. And we'll go around the grounds to check out some of the other sports that we've been watching this off-season next. But first, just like us here at the off-season, the sport itself never stops, and neither does the team at Wests, who are big supporters of this show.
From footy to cricket, basketball to the races, it's live and loud on the big screens. And if you're a full West members battler, you will score 15% off drinks at public bars, so that round lasts a little bit longer.
That's great. That is great value. And wherever you are, New Lambton, Cardiff, Mayfield, the city, or Nelson Bay, Wests has the game on. You can watch it all on those big screens and have a great old time. Find out what is on at mywests.com.au. Okay, let's go around the grounds now and talk about some of those other sports that we are watching this off-season, mate. And mate, we get our chance this weekend to put the sword to the Poms next week, I should say, with the third test coming up in Adelaide after we absolutely smashed them at the Gabba. I don't know about you, but it was nice just to watch a game of cricket that lasted more than 2 days this time around. How about you?
Yeah, mate. And why did we ever doubt the Gabba? An absolute fortress, as we spoke about last week. We should have never doubted it.
True.
All the pressure on the Poms clearly, as you said, like a deck chair, mate, just folded, didn't they? Yeah, no surprise whatsoever. Now, like, you tell me, Scotty, what are we looking at here? The bookies, what are you putting on Australia, mate, just to get the job done, wrap it all up?
Oh, look, I think there's every chance that we will wrap it up in Adelaide, and it could be a whitewash. The Poms this week have been sunning themselves in Noosa. They felt they over-prepared for this last game, which blows my mind just a little bit. The problem has been their performance, not their preparation. And Australia made them pay. Mitchell Starc was immense in this second test. 77 with the bat and 6 for 75 with the ball in the first innings. He won player of the match for the third game in a row. And get this, he has 18 wickets in the first 2 tests alone. And that hasn't been done since Shane Warne got 18 wickets in 2 matches back in 1994. So it just shows how high of a plane he is on right now. And then with the bat, Steve Smith obviously did pretty well this time around too, smashing the Poms for some big boundaries when we had to get just a few runs in our second innings. And he was really following on from what his best work was in the test, which was in the slips. So many great catches and so many clutch plays from the field. I think he and Mitchell Starc made all the difference.
Well, the question begs, mate, what excuses now are the Poms coming up with? We all know they like to try and lay blame to they got a list as long as your arm as to why, how and why they aren't winning. What do they say, mate?
Well, look, they're going to have to come up with a pretty bloody good excuse because they've got good batsmen. Their bowlers seem to have trouble hitting the right line and length for Aussie pitches, and I don't know why they're not able. Jofra Archer, especially, who's their big, fast, quick bowler. he was bowling extremely well in like the last couple of overs of the game, but where was that in the first innings? He was trundling in really and didn't have any impact. So they've got to find another level. And speaking of levels, they're now level with West Indies and Pakistan for the longest streak without a win in Australia at 17 test matches. Only New Zealand have had a longer winless streak with 18 test matches here with no wins. I think they're almost no chance of saving the series now. It'd be huge for them to go to Adelaide and to win there under lights. I can't see it happening. Don Bradman's Australian team is the only one to win a 5-test series after losing the first 2 games back in 1936-37. So there is a whole world of history leaning up against this team. And I reckon they're going to find it a real hard push, and they're going to be going home with their tails between their legs. I'm almost certain of it.
Yeah, wouldn't that be poetic, mate? We just get a complete whitewash on the rugby league field and on the cricket pitch. Music to my ears, mate. So let's.
And it makes for a great summer, doesn't it? What a Christmas present for us all.
Exactly, mate. Exactly right.
Well, somebody else who's celebrating their off-season now is Oscar Piastri. He did have a season to remember. It was as good as any Aussie driver has ever done before him. He didn't clinch the title. He finished 3rd. But he got the most podiums of any Aussie driver before at 16, the most wins in a season at 7, the most pole positions at 7, and the most points accumulated in a season at 410 points. Now, the seasons are longer. There are more races. So when you go back to Alan Jones and Jack Brabham back in the 60s, of course, it's a different generation and a different era. But I don't think we can underestimate just how well he did this year. And he's finished behind an incredibly strong Lando Norris, who found form at the right end of the year. He did what the Parramatta Eels did in the NRL this year, and he got it together at the back end of the season. And Max Verstappen, who is just the driver of a generation. He's a 4-time world champion. And finishing in the top 3 is nothing to sniff at. He joins Aussie names like Mark Webber, Dan Ricciardo, Alan Jones and Jack Brabham, who've all now finished in the top 3. It's only his 3rd season in Formula 1, and I reckon he's going to come back even stronger next year. He's locked in at McLaren for another couple of years at least. And I don't know if you saw this week, there was a story about his pay. We've talked about how well paid he is. He's one of the top paid athletes in Australia. His sort of base salary is about $15 million. But he got $41 million as a bonus for finishing so well this season, which is bloody incredible.
That's a nice bloody bonus. Good on you, Oscar. Hey, well, give me, mate. Now you're the F1 expert on the show. Give me a bold prediction for our boy Oscar. 2026. Wow. Where does he lie in 2026, mate? Can he go a step up? Is he ready for that, or is he caught lightning in a bottle? Because you were saying last week, didn't it? It's going to be a completely they're changing a whole heap of stuff with the
new
cars.
So everybody gets new cars.
Bit of a reset. So for us that aren't big aficionados on the F1, is that really like anything could happen? This could go massively in his favor, or he could just really struggle, or you think there's a baseline there? We're like, no, clearly he's going to be.
McLaren's had the best car for the last 2 years. They've had the best engineering, the best performance, and that's helped him and Lando to do well. They're both excellent drivers. Max Verstappen's car was a dog at the start of this year, and they've made some engineering changes throughout the year that got it kind of performing better. And because he's such a good driver, he was able to make the most of it. I think all 3 of them will be in the mix next year. It just depends where the other teams sort of go with their engineering and whether they can make a car that can compete with McLaren and Red Bull. They are the 2 top teams, but I would be looking at drivers like George Russell and his teammate, just forgot his Kimi Antonelli, the young fella there who's had a great first year in Formula 1. They're all really good. There's probably only 2 or 3 drivers in the pack of 20 that I would say, and in fact it's going to be 22 next year. There's a new team coming in Cadillac. But most of them are fantastic at what they do. They are so good. And you're really talking thousandths of a second, but sort of between the top 6, top 8, top 10 drivers when they're lapping and trying to get that pole position in practice and in qualifying. So it's going to be close, but I think Oscar is going to be every chance of finishing top 3, top 2, and maybe even getting there if he's delivered the right car by his team next year, which is exciting. The NBA is still going on, mate, and there are 3 current NBA players in the top 10 scorers of all time. I thought I knew who was on this list, and I started to kind of question myself when I saw who was actually on this list. Can you think of any current players that might be in the top 10 top scorers of all time?
I'm a very novice, mate. I'm going to have to go the obvious answer. Jordan. You have to be right up there, right?
Well, he is up there, but he's not a current player, right? So he's
you're saying current? Sorry.
Yeah, so current. So because I was thinking there's players like the one that I thought of first was Steph Curry, who scored the most 3-pointers of any player ever in the NBA. So I'm like, he's got to be in there. And the reason that this came about was James Harden, who plays for the Clippers, the LA Clippers.
He's the bearded dude, right?
Yeah, he's got this like big dirty beard, big beard. He's a big guy. He moved into the top 10 this week with 34 points for the LA Clippers. He's been to a few different teams. He's played, for a bunch. But I was like, well, who else is in there? And LeBron James is at the top. He's scored 42,297 points, but there's only one other current player aside from James Harden and LeBron James. It's Kevin Durant, who has played for the Houston Rockets, Seattle, Oklahoma, Golden State Warriors, Phoenix Suns. I sort of was watching him more when he was at the Brooklyn Nets a few years ago. He's played for the US team. He's this really tall, like string bean dude who's just got this incredible, like mid-range jump shot. And he just makes it look kind of so easy. He's this like loopy, long kind of body, long arms, long legs, and he's still doing so well. But I just thought there'd be more current players in there, given how many games they're playing in a season. It's like over 90 games, and I guess you've just got to be consistent and clock those up. I think Steph Curry is like 22nd on that list. He is actually. He scored 25,000 points, so I guess most of his point scoring is like outside the perimeter, and that's about it. Really quite interesting, but an incredible run for LeBron James. I said he topped that list of point scorers of all time, but this week he failed to score 10 points in a game for the first time in, get this, 1,297 games. It's an unbroken run since the 5th of January, 2005. Can you believe it?
More than a 20-year record. That's insane.
It's insane.
It
is insane. Wow. He scored 8 points in the game against the Toronto Raptors. He finished with an assist to somebody else at the end of the game to get the winning bucket in that match. So unselfish, which, with being the top scorer in NBA history, you've probably got to be a little bit selfish through the course of your career. But wow, what a run. What a player. What an athlete. Just unbelievable. Now, I know, mate, you must be getting excited. Tell me now about Vegas. I mean, it's coming so quickly.
It is, mate, and I've really got to pull my finger out.
Have you got a flight yet?
I've got nothing, mate. I've been so goddamn busy.
God.
It's seriously, I've got to pull my finger out. Yes, it's a lot to be planned. There's a lot happened behind the scenes at the night for 2026. That is top of the agenda. So,
well, what can you let me in on? What's happening? Anything you can share with the battlers?
There might be some very high profile players on the show. Can't say too much.
Yep.
Look, there's just so much planning ahead. Lou and I have got to look ahead of where I'm going when. Obviously, we've secured our Magic Round tickets. We're going to be loving coming down for the Voice of Mining round. We really want to get down. I don't know. I'm hell bent on getting to a Tigers game this year, so I really want to go down to one of those. Thankfully, we're playing the Broncos at Suncorp Stadium, so I guarantee you there's going to be plenty of content around that. So, there's the whole planning side of everything that we're doing and working with our great sponsors as well. So, locking all that stuff away. So, never a dull moment, mate. If you think the off-season's a time to turn off and you get a little bit of R&R, well, it's sort of all the other end.
Planning time.
Yeah, exactly right. It's sort of getting your teeth sunk into that.
And we know from the off season from this show, you're not just a Knights guy. You're a massive footy head, and you're very well schooled on the whole game. Are you going to be doing much do you think, with other content creators? Can you see yourself sort of spreading your wings a little bit more next year?
Yeah, absolutely. Already had great mates, Hainsey, Retro, the boys at League of Inches. Shout out to them. They've got Trent Hawkinson coming onto their show as a regular now. So
brilliant.
It's such an exciting time. I know you shared me a reel of some of the boys on the Byram podcast about the mainstream guys and the content creator. Right? Shout out to Leaguey, good friend of the show. It's a really exciting space, and to see the NRL. I personally worked with them this year for the launch of the Rugby League 26 game. just to getting more involved. It really does feel like the tides are turning. There's more opportunities for us, which is really all we want. That's all we want is to have to have our opportunity to more access and to have a little bit more freedom to do that kind of stuff, which is great. So excited, mate, for 2026. And I think, it's just going to, especially for us Knight supporters, I think, it was a really horrible year. We can put that to bed, move on from that. But such a new era is dawning upon us, mate. But what about you, mate? Because you're a bloody busy man too. I know you got to recharge your batteries over in Europe. They seem to be, no sooner have they been charged, mate. They're you know what I mean? You're
running low again,
mate. Yes. Yeah. You're on what 10% now. You're getting the warning.
That's it. No, I'm looking forward to a bit of R&R over Christmas, and then there's obviously so much sport to come next year. We've got some plans through my work at New South Wales Mining with the Knights, both men and women, which I'm excited to work on in the new year. So there's a lot to happen there. Of course, you're going to Vegas, which is a great way to kick things off. Also in the US next year, I just want to touch on the Football World Cup. So the Soccer World Cup, which the Socceroos have qualified for, it's being played in the USA, Canada, and Mexico. It'll be in the middle of the year next year. And it's an expanded format. So it's usually, for a long time, been 32 teams. This time around, it's going to be 48 teams from around the world with 12 groups. Curacao, which is a small island nation in the Caribbean of 144,000 people. They're the smallest country to ever qualify for the World Cup. They've qualified this time around, which is incredible. They're in a group with Germany, Ivory Coast, and Ecuador. I'm not sure how good Ecuador is, but there are a lot of great footballers from the Ivory Coast, and Germany is a world power. So they're going to do very well to get out of that group. But what an amazing opportunity for footballers and football fans from their country to be able to play on the world stage, to be a part of that massive event. The Football World Cup is it's bigger than the Olympics. I think it's the biggest sporting event on the planet, and it is going to be huge in Australia. So our group has been named as well this week. We are not, for the first time in a long time, in one of the groups of death. And we're in a group that actually puts us in a pretty good position, probably for the first time in a long time, not to have one of the world powers in our group. So we've got Paraguay, we've got the home nation USA, and then the other team in our group is going to be decided in March in 2 playoff games with Slovakia, Kosovo, Romania, and Turkey, or Turkey. Turkey, I don't know how you say it properly, but I'm probably saying it wrong now, but and made a mess of it. But those 4 countries they're not big world powers. They've got some good players amongst some of those countries, but we've got a pretty good shot of being competitive. And we have been, in recent World Cups, we've done okay. The last one, not so great. The one before, we did better. We've gotten as far as the quarterfinals before, which I think honestly is like batting above our average, really. But it is looking like a great World Cup. It's funny because when the pot, so they literally do like a live draw, pulling the names out of hats. And I saw a reaction video of a sort of friend of mine, friend of the show, Claude, who's a football content creator. He was doing a live feed for SBS and like a live reaction show. And him and his mate, who were waiting to see who came out of the pot, and they pulled the USA out, and they both like went off screaming and shouting and like how great it was, because it's not England, it's not Spain or Argentina or France. It's America, and we've played them this year. They beat us, but we've beaten them before. They're not a world power. They're a quality team, but that was exciting. The funny part was that American commentators and fans and content creators had the exact same reaction when they saw that that they were pulled out and put in the same group as us. So it's going to be competitive, but I think we can look forward to it's like a really fun tournament, and the chance that we could go through out of that kind of first group stage and up into the first round of knockout games, which is when it gets really serious. I think it's probably the easiest group stage that we've ever had since we first qualified for the World Cup back in 1974. So a lot to get excited about next year.
Well, mate, I'm glad you brought that up, because I saw all the commentators just ripping on the Australians. And I'm not a big soccer guy, mate, but I can guarantee you, whatever time or day that is on, that will be the game. I want us to really channel in to that America's Cup mentality. And the Americans just thought, we got this. Who are these bloody Australians? You know what I mean? Tap into a bit of that. Do yourself a favor, all the younger battlers. The American, what year was that, Scotty? 80 what?
Oh, 80, 81, 82?
Early 80s.
Yeah.
Incredible story. Should be taught in schools. The fact that
Yeah.
it isn't. I was over 30 years old when I really wrapped my head around it. It was
The
absolutely
winged
wild.
keel, one of the great inventions.
Do yourself a favor. In your holidays, battlers, go watch. There's a great Netflix doc. I think it was Netflix. It's on there. It's unbelievable. But anyways, we've got to tap into that because when I saw all the Americans just write us off, I tell you what, mate, that is leaning into exactly what it is. The battlers of Australia get around it. I think that's going to be one of the biggest games in Australia's sporting calendar next year. I think that when that comes around, the US versus Australia, it's going to be on, mate. It's going to tap into the old
we love
swimming
an underdog,
rivalries
right?
and that.
We love an underdog.
Yeah. Remember when we did the same thing in the swimming? Remember they used to go on about the bloody smash us like all
Guitars,
that
so
lean
good.
into that. Yeah, there's a really good rivalry there. And I think
that was back in 2000 when you had Ian Thorpe, Grant Hackett, Michael Klim.
Yeah.
And the Americans had Michael Phelps and a bunch of great swimmers at the 2000 games. I remember it really well. And they were great, but they just thought they were going to kick our ass. And we were the underdogs. And we came out and beat them. And it was their great footage of, I think it was Ian Thorpe, who, is not the most like masculine man, but he's up there on the blocks afterwards, giving it some of this, strumming his guitar. And I thought, good on you, mate. Give it back to them. You did it in the pool and then you give it to them afterwards as well. So, yeah, the Socceroos, man, that is going to be absolutely mega. I cannot wait for that. The World Cup's come around every 4 years and I think it's one of the times enjoyed the International Rugby League and that's going to get better and better each year. But I love getting behind the Socceroos. It channels this energy that I think we all want to get around and support those Aussie teams, especially when everybody else is doubting us. It's going to be so good. Hey, mate, this brings us to the end of the off season for 2025.
Wow, what a ride, Scotty! It's been a year, mate, and can't thank you enough, mate. What a beautiful way! Just the cherry on top, mate. You're the cherry on top of what has been my Sunday for 2025, mate. Truly, putting it all.
Very welcome. It's been a lot of fun.
All the battlers out there, I can't take a lot of credit for this. Scotty puts this together most weeks. I just put my face and my voice behind it, and we just have a good old time with it. But shout out to you, Scotty, mate. Truly, mate. I get so many messages, mate. Truly, I gatekeep them from you because I don't want your head getting too big. But the battlers love you, mate. They really do. You're the third member, mate, of this band. Truly, mate. We mean that. We love having you on here, mate. And it's going to continue. Trust me. We're going to build on like what we're doing. Everything levels up, battlers. So big things come into the off season as well. It's not just going to be this footnote. It's going to be this whole big other thing. So plenty to look forward to for the off season of 2026.
Fantastic, mate. Hey, it's been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing it. It gets me back to my roots of talking into a microphone, and now I've got to talk into a camera, which is it's been a wild ride getting used to that. But I've really enjoyed it, and we've done it with the support of the West Group as well, which we really appreciate. Newcastle and the Hunters, one of a kind dining and entertainment venue. They back the Knights and we back them, so we thank them very much for their support. I've got to get this mention in here that members enjoy $6 happy hours every day from 4 till 6 at Wests. And if you do join by December 31, you get a $10 voucher to make the most of those daily savings in those happy hours. So whether you like a drink or whether you just like watching your sport and having a meal, Wests is a great place to do it. So get around them and get around the club that supports your club, the Newcastle Knights. Thank you to them again for supporting the show. And like I said, make sure you join Wests if you're a local and keep supporting the club that supports your team. Now, before we go, mate, really quickly, Lincoln, when do you know when you and Lou are going to be back with shows and content? What are you planning?
I really don't know, mate. I genuinely, mate, at this point, once we wrap all this stuff, I think,
sometime in the lead up to Vegas.
Oh, absolutely. Like, we still got trials, football. There's so much to happen. Like, I know it feels like it's a little bit far away, but even before round 0, there's plenty of stuff happening. We're going to see Dill Brown in Newcastle Knights kit. There's going to be so much to unpack and box there. So don't worry. We'll be leading into that very strongly. And as I said, I'm glad you touched on the NRLW show. We'll be doubling down on that also. So plenty to look forward to there as we try and go for our 3rd premiership there. Big season coming ahead, mate. Cannot wait.
And I'm sure if there's any breaking news or updates around the world of rugby league, or especially the Newcastle Knights, they'll be able to see your reactions to that on the socials over the rest of the summer, mate. Have a break, have a rest, recharge, get ready for a big year in 2026. I can't wait to see what you do in Vegas and throughout the rest of the season. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks for having me again this year, and thanks to you all for watching and listening. We've absolutely loved it. What a lot of fun the off-season is. Enjoy the rest of your off-season, and we will see you in 2026.